Good morning, afternoon, evening, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone else. And thank you again for watching Kutoy Productions. All 5 of you. If that. We'll see what happens. Anyway, I just want to make one last video regarding this GPU rig. Got 5 VEGA 64s, 1 RX 580, and 6 GTX 1070s. Now it's kind of noisy in this room because all the fans I got going on. I got that fan extracting hot air, that fan forcing cool air coming from that AC, which is on full blast, and even then it is still quite uncomfortably warm in this room, mainly because I'm in Japan and it is humid as hell here. I'm going to go downstairs to do the rest of the actual talking since there's a lot less ambient noise down there. Okay guys, we are downstairs. I'm back, of course, and like I said, it's less noisy down here, so now I'll do all the actual boring talking, by which point you guys have probably closed out this video, and if you guys are about to, I definitely don't blame you. In the meantime, I just want to do a little bit more talking about the rig. So just to brush over specs real quick, 16 gigabytes of RAM, i5 processor, which is a little extravagant for that rig, but eventually that's going to get switched out when I go to build a gaming rig. And then, like I said, 5 1070s, 5 VEGA 64s, 6 1070s, and 1 RX 580. Now I do have a VEGA 64 from Gigabyte. Right here. I don't know if this card is bricked or not yet, because I haven't plugged it back in, since I came home from deployment to realize that there was liquid silicone all over the place. So I'm fairly certain that the conformal coating on most of this goddamn piece of shit melted. So I don't know if it's any good or not. When I get around to building a test rig, I'll find out. I also have a Gigabyte VEGA 56, which will not take the BIOS from that 64 for no apparent reason. It was also DOA. It doesn't work. It crashes the rig every time I try. I'm definitely done with that card. And from the reviews I was reading, you can't even use that damn thing for a gaming card. Now, one card that I love is this one right here. You don't hear a whole lot of good things about these. VEGA Frontier Edition. Very powerful card. Just look at this thing. This thing is beautiful. You don't see graphics cards come in these pretty blue colors. Admittedly, the Asus Strix is pretty fucking awesome, but it's still not blue. This thing is amazing. This thing, you could put the software on it for the gaming drivers, and it runs phenomenally. This thing will mine the hell out of Ethereum, but don't put it in a rig with multiple GPUs. I don't know. I haven't tried it with 2 of these, mainly because I haven't bought another one. But you can't run the gaming driver running this inside of a multi GPU system. It'll only let you use the professional driver, and then you can't clock the rest of your cards. It's a real pain. That's really the only downfall of this. But this is going to end up going in my gaming rig just because I like how it's the blower, so it's going to take all the hot air and shove it right out of the gaming rig. It's going to be perfect, and I'll just mine with it in my off time. I love this card. The only drawback is the software. Or at least that's my own personal opinion. Now, as far as the rig itself, I'm running 425 mega hashes. Now, I think, don't quote me on this, I think I'm running around 2,000 watts-ish. Unfortunately, the Corsair program, the Corsair link, is no longer working with the newer versions, especially since I have 2 of them. For some reason, it's just not playing nice, especially with my rig. Every time I try to run it, whether I'm trying to adjust the fan speeds or just look at the technical specifications, it just crashes out the whole thing, and it's not pretty, and I'm tired of dealing with it. What I do have is NVIDIA Inspector, and what that has allowed me to do is for my 1070s, the EVGA dual fans, those are only pulling 100 watts. Now what's funny about that is that the Gigabyte, which is a tri-fan, are pulling 130 watts each, which is still really good for a 1070. That's about baseline. Keep in mind, that's with a power limit of 70%, so minus 30%. Why those Gigabyte cards are pulling an extra 30 watts, I'm fairly certain it's not because of the extra fan. I would expect a little bit, but not that much. It's kind of weird. I'm not super worried about it right now. I'm still getting good rates. And then back when it used to work, I remember benchmarking my Vegas at 130 watts, and that's just with turning the memory clocks up to 1025 and then the core clocks to 1000. And I never messed with the voltages or anything. I left all those on auto. Like I said, this will probably be the last video I'm going to make in Japan. Now, if anybody out in Japan is thinking about doing crypto mining, you're not going to make very much money, especially with these current markets, this current bear market, because electricity out here is 27 cents per kilowatt hour. Average, of course, in the US is 10 cents per kilowatt hour. In other countries, I'm sure it's even cheaper. I haven't exactly looked. I do know that in Washington State you can get industrial power for slightly less than 5 cents per kilowatt hour, but you got to be mining a lot to make that worth your money. If anybody's thinking about getting into mining, right now I would say is a good time because of cheap GPU prices. At the same time, not so much because of cheap crypto prices. That being said, if you're willing to buy the rig, run the rig, keep the coins, hold on to them. I'm not going to use that stupid word that everybody else uses. Hold, because grammar, hold on to those coins. See if they come back up in a year or two, back to where they were before. You're going to make a lot of money, especially after you mine up all those coins. Now, difficulty, of course, is high. I'm mining about 0.8 Ethereum per month. Keep in mind that I'm using my Vegas right now. Even though they're better on Crypto Night, I'm still mining Ethereum off of them just because that's my preference for the time being. It's easier for me to do. But if you're thinking about mining, I still recommend it. If nothing else, it's a fun hobby. Hold off on Antminers for the time being because they are not making anywhere near how much they should be. In fact, right now they are not even turning a profit. Not with the L3 Plus, not with the S9. That's why I'm not running mine. That, and in a Japanese house, it's a real pain to actually get the amount of electricity you need. I can't even run my dryer at the same time as my rig and all the ACs in the house, which are required because it is very hot and humid here. One more thing I want to talk about, if you're having troubles with cooling, I would recommend trying something I did. Now, those two box fans you saw are cheap $20 box fans. One of them's drawing hot air out of the room. The other one's shoving cool air provided from the AC unit into the rig. If I had more time in this house, I'd probably set up some kind of redneck ducting system to directly duct all that cold air from the AC into that box fan to be shoved into the rig. I think that would get my temps down probably another 5 degrees Celsius. My NVIDIA cards are my hottest cards. The hottest one of those is running at about 65 degrees Celsius, which is about the max that I would run it at anyways. So thank you all again for watching my my little channel here, my little video here at Kutori Productions, and I will see you guys stateside.